Well, hello there, and welcome to this Travel Marketeering Saturday session. If you are joining me live, good morning, and thank you for getting up. Well, it might not be early for you, but it might be early for some. Thank you for joining me first thing this morning on a Saturday. If you are joining live, please use the Q&A down below. If you have any questions or any comments, the live chat is disabled, so you have to use the Q&A. You can also raise your hand and I will turn the audio on so we can have a little chat back and forth. Today's session is all about transforming your event marketing strategy, something that I am extremely passionate about. So I look forward to tucking into that topic, because some of you are either doing live events, whether they're community events, bridal shows, things like that, or you're contemplating it. So we're going to talk a little bit about types of events, how to find the right ones for you. But then we're specifically going to talk about what you do to make the most out of that one moment in time with an event, to make sure that we create a nice halo effect around every single event so you can make the most out of it. Now, these are travel marketeering sessions. And if you don't know by now, travel marketeering is all about marketing your travel products and services through systems. So, little less, we're dispelling the myth that everything has to be art and intuitive. Although I feel like that gets infused into everything that you do anyway. But sometimes that's scary for some people. And the thing with systems is you can constantly tweak. You can what's working, you can do more of. What's not working, you can adjust. So look at it like a machine. Everything that you do, look at it like a machine. And the reason why I am here to talk to you about this is my name is Joshua Haro. If we have not met before, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer or Chief Revenue Officer at WorldVia. And I am responsible for marketing, sales, and service delivery for our company. Doesn't that sound a lot like you? Are you the chief revenue officer for your business? You probably are, because at the end of the day, you're doing all this marketing. You are selling to clients. You are delivering your service in order to generate revenue. And that is what you're here for. I mean, a lot of people have fantastic niches that do a lot of good in the world. But in order for you to do this as a job, you do need to make a profit and generate that revenue. All right. So, again, if you are joining live, then please drop any questions or comments down in the Q&A, and I'm going to pop over and address those throughout the session. And if you have questions or thoughts about future Travel Marketeering Saturday sessions, don't hesitate to drop those in the Q&A as well, because a lot of what I talk about comes from these sessions. And if you want to watch this session or any other session, please go to our YouTube channel. Just search for World Via Travel Network, and you can find playlists specifically for the Travel Marketeering Saturday sessions and a whole lot more. All right. So let's get tucked in. Now, if you are currently doing events, and that could be, like I said, that could be a bridal show. That could be a trade show within your community. That could also be a community event. You might have things like fall festivals, music festivals, things like that. If you're doing any of those things, just drop it in the Q&A. Say, I am, or if you're contemplating it, put contemplating it. Just love to get a poll there. I'm going to look over here and I see Kara said, I like your glasses. No need to address this in your session. Well, Kara, it's just me, and I saw a Q&A, so I addressed it. Thank you very much. All right, and thank you for joining, Kara. Maria said that she is doing events. Fantastic, Maria. I hope that we cover some things that maybe you have thought about, and maybe we'll get a little more details around it, help you maybe enhance what you're doing, or make you think about something you haven't thought about yet. Love that. Althea said, I am getting ready to hold a destination night with Colette about a group trip next year to Italy. Althea, I am so glad that you brought up partnering with a travel partner about a group trip. That is that is definitely an event, and I don't think many people take advantage of their partnerships in instances like this. And Colette is a fantastic partner for doing group events. I love that. So Althea, way to go. And we are going to talk a little bit about, I think, some things that will definitely help. Um, and let's see, Kara said, I did a meet and greet this year in the town that I am a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Unsure how much ROI I got yet, as it was the day before the World Via Annual Conference World. Absolutely understand that. And oh, that's fantastic. I swiped a little too much with my mouse, and I've now lost this is fantastic. Stand by, guys. I have lost my screens. Wow, there we go. That scared me a little bit this Saturday morning. So Kara, I'm glad that you brought that up about the ROI and being able to gauge the ROI because you did it. You did this event recently. Definitely want to talk about that and expectations around ROI. So very, very happy to hear that. Daniela said, I have a booth at a local golf tournament this week. Looking forward to the session. Oh my goodness. I am so proud of you guys for getting out there and having these events. That's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about finding events for your business. Now, everything's always going to come down to who is your audience? Who are you trying to reach? Where are they? All right, that's very important. Where are they? You can't will them to being at an event that they're not going to be at. So you do need to know who you're trying to reach, what you're selling, and where are they going to be. And a little caveat there is that some smaller community events could be based around a neighborhood. Maybe you live in a neighborhood, or they could be surrounding something that you have an affinity for, something that you're passionate for, like retro cars. Cars may not fit in to your niche, but if you like the type of travel that you sell, and you want to find more people like you and you like retro cars, then there are some exceptions. They don't have to be right on the dot, but you kind of factor it in. What is goodwill for your community, and how can you be known for travel within your community? And that could be a community where you physically reside or where you mentally reside. How about that? So that you could definitely factor that in. Now, there's most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, there's a cost associated to it. So you need to really evaluate the cost to participate in these events. And as Kara was saying, she isn't sure about the ROI for a local event she did with her Chamber of Commerce. But she's thinking about the ROI, and ROI, return on investment. Okay. How much did she put in, uh, dollar wise, and also time wise? Because as an entrepreneur, your time has a value. And there is, for you to put on, to be a part of an event, you have a cost, an opportunity cost. Maybe your time being away from the office prevents you from doing other work. You need to factor that in. Okay. Now, choosing the events. First off, I'd like to say that if you are getting your business started and you are sitting at home waiting for lead forms to come in or inquiries to come in from your website, um, events are a good thing for you to get involved with. Get out there and show the world, start having conversations, show the world who you are. Now, I look at this a couple of ways. I look at it, one, as I am getting out there and I am representing my brand. And I also look at it as it's a way for me to test and float my elevator pitch, how I describe what I offer. It's a lot of times you're talking to your friends and family. And your friends and family, I would hope, love and adore you. And they are probably not going to be 100% honest with you if they don't understand your how you pitch your business, because they might not even be the right clients for you. But yeah, I know you talk to them and you say, "Oh, I focus on this type of holiday with parents or whatever your niche is, right?" And they listen to that and they're like, "Oh, well, that's nice," right? How many people have gotten that? "Oh, that's nice," right? So whenever I am doing an event, I'm also testing uh, different ways that I pitch myself. And the great thing about an event, especially where there's a nice steady stream of traffic, is that I am going to, maybe in the morning, I'm talking about my business, and my services one way. By the afternoon, I have now, because I want to have conversations with people. If people are not having conversations with me based on how I'm talking about my business, I'm going to switch it up. I'm not just going to talk to a wall. I'm going to try to have conversations. And what I find very useful is, and everybody's different, but I like to find where the hook is. What is the thing that I can say consistently that intrigues people or gets them to stop and chat for a little while? Now, they might not be my ideal customer, uh, but what I'm testing, how I what I'm saying to them will either resonate or not resonate, and then I'll change course. Or I might say something, and this is very, very common, using industry jargon, and this happens a lot with destination wedding specialists. Most, well, I'm not going to say most, a lot of people, when they're looking for a destination wedding, this is the first time that they've even explored this. They may have never even traveled this way. So some of the things that you might know, some terms, some phrases that you might know, or even the timeline of putting together a destination wedding, you take it for granted that you know that information. You are the expert. You have to and you have to convey that you are someone that they can put their confidence in. So don't talk over them. Find the sweet spot where you can communicate effectively with them and get them to understand what it is that you offer. Now, let's definitely set expectations. I cannot think, and I have been working I've been working in events for decades. I have been working with travel agency owners and advisors and their events for about 7 years. Actually, it has been 7 years now. Um, I will say that no event that I have been attached to or involved with or heard about with a travel advisor has resulted in transactions at the event. None. So that do not have that as an expectation. The conversation happens there. The building your list happens there. Your contact database, building that list, that happens there. Really planting the seeds. It is an investment in the future, but you can gauge your ROI initially on how many names, how many contacts do you collect at an event. That is something that you can immediately measure. The the real the payoff is going to come over time. With travel, very rarely is the transaction immediate, unless you are selling something very specific. And this goes back to Althea, I think it was, who is doing a group to Italy, and she's working with Colette. So she has a very specific product that she's selling, a group trip to Italy with very specific dates. And she's bringing Colette in. And this event is not a part of like a trade show or a multi-agent event. This is specifically about this group. And in those situations, yes, it is very common for you, and it should be your measure of the effectiveness of the event, the number of deposits you take during that event. So those very specific products that you're selling, the group events that you're putting together, again, you as the solo, that a transaction will you'll generate a transaction from. But when you do things like bridal shows, those are more of list building and having maybe those preliminary conversations or discovery calls that you would have, from inquiries on your website. You're doing those live and in person. And you're also gathering a ton of feedback, and you're looking at the competitive landscape whenever you're at an event where maybe people similar to you are also attending the event. Yeah. All right. Now I see Kara has a question. I'm going to pop over. She's dropped something in the Q&A. Kara said, it was interesting to me how much my elevator pitched, even within the 2-hour meet and greet I did. I found that what I thought would be a good opener didn't work well to keep engagement and shifted as the night went on. That is perfect, Kara, and I'm so glad that you can I'm not even gonna say it. I'm so glad that you can agree with what I said. Corroborate. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. My statement. Yeah, you have an elevator pitch that you've been working on. Maybe you use it in emails, and you say, "Hi, I'm Kara, and my agency focuses on this, and we help people who are like this do this. Just very simple elevator pitch is just supposed to be that quick couple of sentences that conveys what you do and who you do it for. Okay. So Kara experienced that what she thought was going to be good, and it doesn't mean that it's not good overall. But in different settings, you might need to mix it up a little bit. And I'm glad that you shifted as the night went on, because that is the beauty of it. If you cannot strike up a conversation with your elevator pitch when you're doing an event, and it can be, one pitch can work at one event and you might need to switch it up for another. But once you do that, then uh, once you figure out which one is working, go with it, and then continue to refine as you go along, because it's all about those conversations and seeing what works. And the other thing that I love, we talk a lot about digital marketing, the things that you do online. The event marketing is where it really comes to life, and you do have the ability to pivot, and you can see someone's reaction. Um, a- and here's just a tip. If you have a booth, maybe you have a booth, maybe it's a table with a skirt and you've got some brochures laid out. Maybe you've got one of those, I call them banner bugs, they're pretty inexpensive, the things you they kind of wind up into a roll at the bottom, but then you can raise them up, and they can have your images, logos, things like that. But those are great ways to kind of take over space. So you have a booth or a table, but I like to stand outside of my booth, or table. That's where people are walking by. And if I see someone looking, a lot of times somebody waiting to pounce at the table terrifies some people. So if they feel like they can browse, look at information at their leisure without feeling pressured, you can come alongside them and say, "Hi, I'm the owner of this agency," and you can strike up a conversation. Or say you have brochures that you've got Italy, Ireland, England. You've got them kind of sectioned out on the table. If someone is looking at the Ireland, you can say, "Oh, have you ever been to Ireland?" Right? So it's more of making them feel comfortable to approach your booth. But then also you're out there in the open. And guess what? People buy from people. I say that a lot. I'm sure you know that, but people buy from people. And if I see somebody that is representing their brand well, then that can also be attractive for me to come to that booth and look to see what they're all about. Don't discount that, especially for those of you who are solopreneurs where you are the business. Get out there in front of that booth. I'm just saying, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm going to give you one example of something that I did quite recently. I did a trade show where, beautiful booth, and I had some other people working the booth with me. It was a 10 by 10 booth. It had a table and we had a backdrop. And I want to say we had three other team members, including myself, or excluding myself. And they had some cool swag to give out, and they were having a lot of conversations. Well, I felt it got very congested for me. So we were right at the end of a row of booths. I was able to move just outside our booth and stand alongside it. So, yes, there were people, they were interacting with our booth. It was a beautiful thing. But what I was able to catch, and I hate to say it that way, but what I was able to catch by being outside of the booth was the people who did not want to jump in to the larger group, and did not want to necessarily line up to talk to the team who was there representing us. So I was able to catch people and have what I think were powerful conversations. And from those powerful conversations, I was able to have deeper conversations with those from those powerful conversations. I was able to have deeper conversations later on, which was a positive result. Now, that does not mean to say that the people that were lining up at the booth, uh, they weren't valuable. It's just I felt like there were some people that were not going to jump into that group, and if I could stand outside and show that I was affiliated, I wasn't just some random person standing next to the booth, but I was able to have maybe conversations uh, with those people who didn't want to maybe compete with others who were trying to get attention. It's all, and did I know I was going to do that? No, that was not my strategy. But my strategy every time I go to an event is to make sure that I make the most out of the 1 hour, the 2 hours, sometimes the 3 hours that I get. And like I said, there were plenty of other team members there who were also working it, and they had their own style too. Now we were all in unison on what we were talking about, but I saw an opportunity to maybe step outside the booth and catch people that were not necessarily going to line up. But I could tell that they were curious. They were standing, and they were standing by the booth, and they were kind of looking into the booth. They were looking for their entry point, and I wouldn't say that they were shy. I would not say that they were shy. It's just some people don't feel like they're an inconvenience, that people don't want to be interrupted at the booth. And guess what, guys? And if you've done any events, you know it. That's what you're there for. So whatever you can do to draw people in definitely helps. Now, Kara, I see has another comment here. So Kara said, for a supplier co-hosted event that is to promote a group, what are some strategies to getting the information out to people who have interest in the event? I feel like my newsletter and social media um, reach have already heard about my Ireland trip. So she has an Ireland trip, guys. But I haven't filled the group. So not sure how to get in front of others. Okay. So let's see, for a co-hosted event. Uh, okay. I wanted to make sure that I got that right. And Althea has the same question: how to market my event. Well, this is perfect. This is great. This is exactly what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to dive into this specifically because, and I'm so glad that you brought this up, Althea and Kara. I'm so glad that you have a group trip that you are trying to fill, because this is, for everybody who's watching, if you are not selling a group, I would like you to strongly consider that, because it helps you focus your marketing even further. We talk about uh, focusing on your niche, and talking to your ideal client. And that helps you hone in your marketing, right? Get the most bang for your buck. And that is very, very true. However, something that has been tried and true for a very, very long time, and I have this on good authority from agency owners and advisors who have been doing this for decades. When you have something very specific to sell, not just Italy, I sell in Italy. I'm an expert in Italy. Not just I'm an expert in Ireland. When you have something very specific, like I am doing a 12-day tour of Italy, and it is in October. It starts on October 7th of 2025, or doing Ireland in March of 2025, something like that. It makes it your message is very, very precise. It, you'd be surprised at how many people who you are talking to. It could be a hairdresser, it could be somebody in the grocery store, it could be somebody at a kids softball game, it could be it, anything. You've now given them something that they can choose. I can choose to learn more about that trip. What are they doing? What is happening in that trip? Now, if you've already got it put together, then how easy is it? You already know how much it's going to cost, when the deposits are due, you know all the specifics. It just rolls off your tongue. Okay. Um, and then it also makes it easy for someone to say, I can't do that, but do you do this? What about another date? Are there options for me to go as a solo traveler? You see what I'm saying? It starts to really frame up that conversation to be really specific. So, for those of you who are not working on groups, I want you to really consider it, because you'll be surprised at how well you can do with selling your group, and that becomes something that grows over time. I've seen it over and over again. Somebody starts with 8 cabins, then the next year it goes to 12, then the next year it goes to 24. I've heard these stories over and over again. Some advisors even plan for a year. There's 4 groups that they do every year, and every year they change up the location, but the groups grow. It spreads by word of mouth. They do these 4 very specific groups, and that's what they market. And what they catch in terms of leads or inquiries go well beyond just those groups. So while it seems like you're only selling 4 things, you're actually doing a really effective job of promoting that you are an expert in travel. And if I'm doing these 4 trips, what else might I be able to help you with? So groups are fantastic. So let's talk about marketing, and what we're going to talk about, what everyone should be doing pre-event, during the event, and post-event. And Kara and Althea, I'm going to address specifically around the groups. And let me clear this up here, because let's see here. And Daniela said she's got the same issues, currently holding space for 2 hosted group cruises she's trying to fill. I love this. What a good group. Kudos. Kudos to you guys. All right. So first, and I promise we're going to talk about the specific group events, and promoting those. But let's just talk about right now. Take a piece of paper, and I want you to draw 2 lines. So I want 3 columns. All right. And the first one, right at the very top, free. In the middle, I want you to put during. And in the final column, I want you to put post. So every event, whether it is, even in some cases, even just attending a Chamber of Commerce meeting, I'm saying even that counts as an event, or a bridal show, or a specific group event that you're doing. I want you to always think about what you do before, what you do during, and what you do post event. Okay. So first things first. So taking this out of the discussion, there's going to be different events that you're going to want to attend. Like I said, community events, bridal shows, um, uh, 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 those affinity group events, as well as you're hosting an evening around a specific group that you're selling, or you're even hosting a lunch. So different types of events. So this applies to all of those events, okay? Pre, during, and post. So first and foremost, what is your message? What are you selling? Now, in the case of selling a specific group, you already know you're selling into this group experience that you've created. If you're doing a bridal show, you are talking about your destination wedding services, honeymoons, bachelorette parties, bachelor parties. Well, not parties, but trips. So you've got to know what it is that you're going to be promoting. Now, if there's a specific supplier that you work with and you have a relationship with, that if you don't have a relationship with those partners, get those relationships started because they are going to help you in other ways, maybe not with the event, but in most cases, I have found you have a good relationship with a travel partner, and the event that you're doing really dovetails well into what they sell, their product. Then a lot of times they might have marketing funds to assist you with the event. They can get you maybe some swag that's appropriate, um, or they can get you brochures. Oh, I've got Laura Ledick. Let's see. I think Laura joined with our panelists from when she was on the other week. Laura, I'm glad that you're here, but I just muted you. Sorry about that. All right. So reach out to the supplier, and if it is an event that they can support you in, chances are they will support you. Now, if you are unknown to them, you have not already established a relationship, do not expect them to go all out and assist you with the event. It might be where they can just help order some brochures for you. But that's the whole point of really developing the relationships with the suppliers. These events that you're going to do, they want to know that you're being proactive and trying to build your business. So if you have that relationship, they oftentimes will support you, and the level of support it differs. It can be they'll even show up and be at the trade show with you, or in the case of Althea, she's doing an event with Colette, and that is something that Colette has said many times over. If you put together a group, will you reach out to your local rep, and they will help you with doing a Zoom night, or if you can book space in if there's a local wine club and they've got an area, a meeting room space. A lot of times the wine club or the wine store will let you have the space as long as they can maybe do a tasting or promote a wine that maybe is appropriate for what your what group you or what destination, sorry, you're looking at. So that is that's a tip that I got from Colette specifically, that they have had great results with working with local wine shops that do have tasting rooms where where they'll hold small groups. So that's another benefit to working with a supplier partner in your area. They have places that maybe they've worked with, and maybe you have places that they've never thought of, but you can kind of collaborate with them. But once you know what it is that you want to promote, what story you're trying to tell. If a supplier is, if a specific supplier is an appropriate fit, then definitely reach out because they will oftentimes help you in small ways and sometimes very big ways. I've seen all different types. But that is something that you should definitely try. Now, Kara, I know Althea is doing that with Colette, but Kara, I don't know, and Daniela, I don't know if you guys have reached out to the supplier you're working with to see if they can support you with an event to promote your group. If you haven't done that, please do that. Please do that. It'll make a big difference. Kara said she's working with CIE. Uh, they can do that, but I'm worried about spending money for no one to come. Very valid concern. And let's see. Maria said Variety Cruises is sponsoring my booth at a local Greek fest. Good one. Didn't even think about Greek Fest. And Althea is saying, I'm just worried that no one will come. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, you're working with a partner. Maybe they're going to bring they're going to support you in different ways, but you're holding an event and you're worried that people won't come. So very valid concern. So how are you promoting this event? Now, do you have an audience of people who want to come to events? That, if depending on how big your list is and how active your list is, you might not have the people to come to the event. So you might need to look at maybe doing advertising, pay-per-click advertising on Facebook to get the word out about that event. Also, don't forget about sometimes with the library, sometimes with grocery stores, in different places that a community interacts with each other. They have bulletin boards, and you can create a beautiful flyer, maybe something in Canva. Or if you're doing an event that a supplier has put together where they've got a specific formula for how they do things, like cruise nights. The cruise lines have those pretty much down pat. In fact, I think Viking has a pretty good event package that they put together. They might have some of those assets, and then you just put in the information about where it is. Don't forget about those types of things. It doesn't necessarily have to be marketing, that paid marketing, the traditional social media marketing. But I would also consider your list and send emails. Make sure you do social posts, but call them, call them. Most people do not answer the phone. So if you're someone who is not necessarily, oh, I don't want to bother people, uh, give your best radio commercial for your event, and do that personal invite. That will go far. And if you do get somebody on the line, just like when you're doing an event and you're testing out your pitch, you can find out what maybe there's some objections might be to coming to the event. Maybe it's something that you can do. Maybe there's something you can do. If there's a very specific date, it's in stone that you're going to have this event at this time. You can't make that change. And someone says, "Oh, I just wish it was on a Wednesday night, not a Thursday night." You can't really do anything about that. But it might be how you're explaining what's going to happen. Maybe they feel like it's going to be a hard sell. Maybe you've positioned it as, um, and hold on, I'm just trying to think of an example. Maybe you've positioned it as, this is an event to learn more about this group that I'm putting together. to go to Ireland. Okay. Well, maybe I'm not there yet. So if you are pitching this group that you're put together and I haven't even decided if I want to go, then maybe you need to come in a little more sideways and say, I am working with CIE, and most suppliers don't know CIE, but I'm working with one of my travel partners. That's probably better. One of my travel partners, and we are going to put together an event all about Ireland. It's going to be good crack. Did you know that crack means fun in Irish? You know what I mean? So now the event is not about my you buying space on my group. It's about learning more about Ireland. And whether you're giving the presentation or the supplier is giving the presentation, uh, you're getting expertise, you're getting passion, you're getting personal photos. You're maybe if you've always dreamed about going to Ireland, and you don't know where to get started, guess what? At this event that we're hosting at maybe it's a restaurant, a local restaurant, or it's one of those wine stores. Uh, you're going to learn about it and it's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time. And I haven't seen you in forever if it's somebody that you know. And maybe while they're on the phone with you, they say, well, I'd love to come. I don't know about Ireland. I'm interested, but I do want to talk to you about da 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 another trip. Oh, come on. Please, come on. I'd love to see you. And it's just gonna be a fun evening. We're gonna have canapes. Maybe there's gonna be some wine. Just it can be just a fun evening. If you position it that way, that is going to be an easier sell than saying, come to my night about this particular group. I know you haven't made a decision on it, but you will make a decision on it. I'm just saying it's easier to attract people without there being that hard sell implied through the way you're presenting it. So keep it about fun. People want to be entertained, and I, Kara, because I know you personally, I know that you are very entertaining. So if I feel like I'm going to come to an evening with Kara, I know I'm going to have a grand time. If it's Kara and somebody who is passionate about Ireland, who has been many times, these are some of the things that you can use in the marketing, right? You can say, um, uh, and we're working with Jenny, and she's been to Ireland 36 times. That's how I want to go to Ireland. I want to know that there's some expertise there that I'm going to get. So it's really all about positioning it, but make it a fun event. It is a sales event, but you do not need to lead with that when you're promoting the event. And likewise, when we're in that pre-event column, when you're talking about going to these events, make sure that you let everybody in your network know. And that can be your business pages, that can be your personal pages. Do not be shy. You can do those kinds of invites, right? You can put out a TikTok video where you're inviting people to come to this event. Go to this page to RSVP. Have fun with it. Make sure that you are shouting it in every direction that you are going to this event. When you do this, the perception is probably going to have more of an impact than even the event itself. Uh, what I have seen and what I have heard over and over again is the number of people that RSVP for your event you might as well take 20% off because 20% had every intention to show up, whether it's a live event or it's an in-person event or it's a virtual event, but 20% are not going to show up. That's okay because the 80% that do are expressing a real interest. And those are the people that you want to talk to. Doesn't mean those other 20% won't make a decision to buy from you, but the 80% that do, um, and I've heard this even from our suppliers. So yes, they would love to have 50 people at an event, but if they have 5 people that are qualified and ready to buy, that is where they want to be. So it isn't always about the numbers, but I would just want to set your expectations that if you have 10 people registered to come, 8 are going to show up. Just plan for that. Okay. All right. I see there's some questions. So I also need to just clear the Q&A here. Again, if you guys have any questions or comments, please put it in the Q&A. And I am just clearing that out. Okay. So Daniela says that with the group that she's put together, she hasn't reached out to her account manager yet. So she is going to do that. Great job, Daniela. And another thing about working with your supplier partners, they do events all the time, whether they're doing it for their brand or they're assisting with an advisor in their event. If you have developed the relationship with them, a trusting relationship where you're not just taking, you're giving back, you're selling their product, you're promoting their product, they will share some of their wins, some of their horror stories. So you don't have to go at it alone. They definitely want you to succeed. They want you to sell their product. So you talk to them openly about what you're planning. Pose some of these same questions that you're asking me. Pose these questions to them, and they can definitely give you their advice and what they've seen work really well and what they've seen maybe there were good intentions but did not actually amount to uh, a win. However, no matter what, keep on trying. Don't give up. You might have one bad event. That doesn't mean the next one's going to be bad. So you've got to keep at it. Don't give up on it. Now, Althea just said she does not have a list. She's relatively new. And this is for her Italy group. So, Althea, this is where I definitely would encourage you turn up the volume on your social media. You might have very few followers, but utilizing hashtags like even hashtag Italy, hashtag maybe specific places in Italy that you're planning to go. Uh, Sometimes geographical hashtags will increase your chances of being discovered. I would do videos. You can do videos from your office where you're talking about here are the 5 things that we're gonna do on this Italy trip that I bet you would love doing. And just talk to people. Just like at an event and testing out different pitches, same thing. You might through trying different types of media and communications, you might find a sweet spot and something that really resonates with your audience. And Althea, just because I'm talking about social media and guys, the whole pre-column of what you should do prior to an event, definitely make sure that everyone knows on Facebook, make sure you've got a calendar, an event listing, and it tells people how to register for the event or just the details of the event. If it's an event that someone else is holding, link to their website. So if they need to buy tickets, they can do that. Make sure that it is very known that you're going to this event. And something that just because Althea made me think about this, um, you're going to do posts that says, hey, see me at booth 185 at the whatever bridal event. You can do posts like that. Uh, you can also create posts, fun posts, and maybe you're not somebody who loves to be on camera, okay? But you could, let's take Italy. You could do, and I don't know if this is true, so just bear with me here. But I love cappuccino. I also love espresso. However, and somebody can fact check this on me because I didn't do it, but I was on a cruise with someone who is a barista, and she said that she is annoyed. This, I don't know, I'm going to chuckle here. She said she's annoyed by people who drink cappuccinos after noon because apparently that's a faux pas. You drink cappuccinos before noon and espressos after noon. Now, I don't know if that's true, but if it is true, hey, I just now shared it with you. Wouldn't that be a fun story to create on Instagram, Facebook? Did you know that in Italy you don't have cappuccinos after noon? So when is the right time to have a cappuccino, and when is the right time to have an espresso? Again, I don't know if that's true, but isn't that a fun little tidbit that if it is true, you could create just a picture of a cappuccino and an espresso side by side, and then have a nice headline and maybe link to a story in your blog. And then at the bottom of the blog, it's join me for this event about learning more secrets to how to get on well in Italy, right? And also about this great tour that I'm doing in Italy. See what I'm saying? Make it fun, make it entertaining, just the way you would be at an event. Now, I got to pull up my list because I can sit here and talk for hours about this. But let's talk about social media. So we talked about creating content, making sure that people know that you are going to be at this event, and this should start the moment you sign up for an event or you plan to have an event. Okay. So it doesn't, just because you post it once, don't expect people to know just they all saw that post. No, make sure that you're coming up with different ways to say that you're going to be at this event, and continue to talk about that on social media. And you could talk about it in different ways on different platforms. That's always fun. One of my notes that I wanted to make sure I conveyed is schedule the posts. Because if you're going to count, you might get busy. You might have a lot of work to prepare for an event, or you might have a lot of business that you're working with already. So plan out a schedule of posts so they can fire without you having to do anything to ensure that you are communicating this event, whether it's an event that you're hosting or it's one that you're participating in, like a bridal show. Um, and uh, email, email, not just one email, but several emails, and try different ways, use different images, tell different stories. Maybe one email is just the facts. Use an event template that just says, "Come see me at this event," or "Come out for a fun night about Ireland." Right? It's good crack, right? Explain what crack is. Um, but find different ways to communicate this event via email. Now, Uh, Kara brought up something that I want to. Sorry, I just saw David's comment. I've got to address it. Uh, David, thank you. David Siciliano. I feel like he might know. He said cappuccino before 11 and then espresso. So there you go, Althea. You've got a tip. I feel like that's exactly what that person said to me, but I couldn't remember. So I guess I'll have my cappuccino this morning before 11 comes around. But thank you for answering that, David. I appreciate that. Uh, so sorry, I got distracted there. Email. Oh man. Oh, another thing I would say about email is make sure that you email if it's an event that you're not hosting, but it's something where they have to buy tickets. Make sure you include that information. You're promoting their event as well. And it could be a community event, which even if the people you're emailing don't come, they know that you're participating in these events. It's a news story. I know it doesn't feel like a news story because maybe you paid to participate in this event, but it is a news story. And these things pay dividends later. Think about the thing. There are emails that you receive today from various different companies. You don't buy from them via that email, but the information has trickled in. And I want to say the rule is there's a rule of seven. If not, I just made up a rule of seven. At least seven messages across different channels. So seven emails, seven social posts, seven maybe not seven phone calls, that's borderline harassment there, but I'm just saying at least seven emails, at least seven social posts, to make sure that people know that you are doing this thing. Now I remember exactly what I was going to say. So Kara referenced her newsletter. So I do know that I do know Kara very well, a very shrewd business person, and she does a regular email newsletter. So first off, big props to Kara for doing that, okay? Because that is a big step. If you're not communicating with your database on a regular basis, then your random pop flies when you have an event don't necessarily get that much traction. But just because you're sending newsletters doesn't mean that people read the whole newsletter. So yes, have maybe a little mention of the event and maybe link it to a page on your website, or maybe you're using something like Eventbrite to track RSVPs, which I do recommend that you do. Eventbrite is free, or it's got a very nominal fee, but it allows people to either buy a free ticket, or maybe there's a cost for the event. But it allows you to communicate with the people who are interested in the event, and you can manage who's supposed to be there and how that list is growing. But what I was going to say is I would look, if you're going to apply the rule of seven, don't count your newsletter mentions as a part of that seven. If you have something very specific to communicate, I strongly urge you to communicate a solo message, just one message, and use your newsletter as more of the catch-all of the roundup of the communications. So that I just want to pass out or pass on, pass out. Don't pass out. Please don't pass out. If you are doing an event that is like a trade show, bridal show, things like that. If you are doing it with someone else, maybe you've got another agent or a partner who you work with. If you have the ability to take appointments while you're at the venue, then I strongly urge you to do that. So make sure you have somebody uh, who is overseeing the booth and can hand out your information, but you can also use a scheduling link like Calendly, specifically set up for during this event, and that can be a way for you to communicate to people. A, you're going to be at this event. B, if you're going to be at this event, uh, schedule time. We haven't had a chance to get together in person, but you're going to be at this event, then schedule time and we can have a private appointment. They can be 10-minute appointments. They don't have to be big, scary appointments. They might want to do the sampling of all the desserts at the festival that you're at. But you've now scheduled a little time. Some of those people may not show up for those appointments. Again, just setting expectations. But how cool, how professional is it that you have set the tone that at this event you they can take control and they can schedule time with you, not just randomly come up to the booth. Perception sells. And even if no one takes you up on scheduling those appointments, I guarantee you the message that you're sending is elevating you. It is absolutely elevating you. So wanted to talk a little bit about swag. Pretty inexpensive swag is the free the giveaways that you can give out at your booth. Um, and it's very common for people to just go through a trade show or come to an event and just collect the swag. Now, the size of the event to me dictates what type of swag I'd be giving out. Now, if I'm having one of uh, those private events where I'm selling specific group space, like Kara, Daniela, and Althea are doing, then I might splurge a little bit on my swag. If I have things that I've got with my logo on it already, I might gather a bunch of them and create little care packages. If it is something where uh, maybe wine is appropriate, then maybe you give everybody a bottle of wine, right? It's not swag per se, but it is a gift for them coming to the event. Now, if that bottle costs you $20 and you had 5 people show up, yes, there is a cost. But what an impression that would leave. Yeah. If it's an event like you're doing a Pride festival and there's thousands of people that are going to be there, then look for small things that are useful, small things that convey the brand name, and ensures that people, maybe they'll take that pen the writing pen that you've done, um, because it looks like a cool pen. Everybody needs a pen, but don't make it hard for them to tell the name of the business, or how to contact you. You don't necessarily have to have your telephone number on there, but if you can get your website on there, that's great. Or if your name is so specific, like Joshua Harrell's Atlanta Travel Agency, just that would not be a great name, but I'm just saying, Joshua Harrell's Travel Agency, that's probably searchable, right? So if you can put your domain name, definitely do that. But that something like writing pens is a very inexpensive thing. I've even seen and this is really cool, and I can't remember which company I found this with, but they had the dishwasher magnets that say clean, dirty, that you flip around, and then it had a place for your logo. I would use that if I don't have one already. And as long as your logo isn't obnoxious and has your mailing address and everything else, then yeah, I'll put that on my did I say fridge? On my dishwasher. Anyway, just think about things that you would want and then are not necessarily, they're not something super expensive, but they're something somebody would use. And yes, it might end up in the rubbish bin, but for the people it doesn't, they're going to find you. In fact, just a little side note on this, um, I did a very small event, and maybe there was about 25 people. And I actually had Yetis done. This is how big of it in terms of the quality of the content, or the purpose of the event. I had Yetis done with the company name lasered or at laser etched onto the Yeti. Now Yetis are expensive, okay, and the etching was a little bit pricey. Several years later, I ended up hiring someone because they had given that Yeti to their brother-in-law, and they had gone through a career change or whatever. They ran into their brother who was using the Yeti, and then they remembered the company, and then they reached out on Facebook, and now they work for our company. Did I think that was going to happen with a Yeti? No. Is this person somebody worth their weight in Yetis that have been laser etched? Yes, they are. So I'm just saying, you never know, and it's not going to be an immediate thing. Again, that expectation needs to be there. Um, another piece, I was talking about reaching out to your suppliers if it's appropriate. And the reason why I say if it's appropriate, because there's certain suppliers that you might be working with that they are the wholesaler. They're the middle person. You might need to reach out to maybe that resort that you're purchasing through a wholesaler to get brochures, or it might be a brand that is not um, consumer facing. You are the brand. So maybe you need to reach out. Maybe it's about the destination. So you reach out to the tourism board to see if they've got materials that you can, some collateral that you can get out. But you can also create one pages, and they can be simple things that you've created as a Word document, or even on Canva, just create a flyer and you print out on your home printer. That just gives some highlights. Maybe it's about the group space that you put together, or maybe it's about the services that you provide for destination weddings and honeymoons with your contact information. But make sure before the event, you get all that stuff lined up. What kind of swag you're going to bring, what collateral you're going to need. If you need any signage, you get that made. Just plan that out in advance. And a big piece is your business cards. Please make sure that you have business cards. I know in this time of everything being online and social media and QR codes that you can scan to get people's information, business cards still work. And let's see. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta find my business cards. Where are they? Where are they? Here we go. So I'm going to show you how I give a business card in any setting. So the way that I design a business card is I have obviously contact information, brand, very easy to see. My name is the most important thing, because if I introduce myself to someone, they might not remember my name. So I need to make sure that at first glance you can see the company name and my name before they get into the details. The details come later when they're trying to contact you. I always do my cards double-sided, and look at that. Bam, that is my brand name. So when I am giving out my card, I always give out my card both hands, not like this. I'm kind of doing it in an awkward way, but both hands, I present them with my brand, because first and foremost, you see my face, my brand, my face, my brand. We are connected. We are one. Okay. Then they take it. They always look at it. Oh, worldview. And then they flip it around. My job is done. They have my business card, but I presented it brand first, because that's who I'm representing. I'm saying I have been doing this for decades. It makes a difference. So much better than, oh, here's my card. I was just at Legislative Day with ASTA and meeting with Congress people and senators, and their team members just grab a stack of cards and start handing them out. I don't know. Didn't feel special. Didn't need to, but I'm just saying, hand your card out that way. The other thing that you should invest in, and it is not expensive at all, very easy to get, is a name badge. Get a name badge with your first and last name. You don't need your title in there, but make sure your company branding is there. Always, always wear your name badge. It may seem so simple, but people want to call you by your name. People, like me, forget names very, very fast. But if I can do a quick glance at your name badge, especially if it's right over your heart, I will call you by your name. You'll feel better and I'll feel better. Okay. So have that. Now, at most events you go to, you might have a lanyard and a name badge, but don't count on that because sometimes you can't read the name badge and you don't want people looking down here. You want them looking up in this vicinity. So always have a name badge. And just a tip, if you're gonna order a name badge, order three because you're inevitably going to lose one. I'm just saying, years of experience here, trying to pass that on. Name badge is really important. Let's see here. Just looking over here, Althea, glad to see that you have your event on Facebook. Danielle said, I put some golf tees and a business card in a small mesh bag to hand out to the golfers. I will also have customized koozies at my table. Koozies are great. They're easy to travel with in terms of like getting to the event because that's something that can be a nightmare is if you've ordered too much swag or you did like big water bottles and they come in giant boxes of 72 and then you've got all these brochures and you've got to trek back and forth to the booth from your car. That can be difficult. So koozies are a great option. Love it. I'm so glad that you are doing that. Now, let's talk about during the event, marketing during the event. Make sure that you are taking photos. You have to be very mindful about this because if you are at an event and it's been busy, which that's a good thing, you want it to be busy. But if it has been busy, you're going to miss out on capturing content while you were there. I always say if it's not on social media, it didn't happen. The reason why I say that is it makes me want to capture um, and document any event that I'm attending. And we have a supplier partner we work with, John from Exotica, and he does a lot of industry events, very different from consumer events, but he goes to a lot of industry events. John, if you go to his LinkedIn or his Facebook, he is posting nonstop at every event. Here is a collection of photos, whether it's people that he got to see at the event or a cool thing he got to do at the event, because not all events are trade show booths, right? They could be where you're mingling at a very cool destination in your city, okay? Or you've put together this event at a restaurant, kind of the back room of a restaurant. Um, but take pictures and post while you're at the event. Tag the venue. Use the hashtag from the event. All these things will help with your discoverability and also the impression you leave from being at this event. And you'll be surprised. You'll run into people who follow you on social media who didn't go to the event, but they're talking about it. And you can't control what they're talking about to their friends. They could have a beer with a friend of theirs on a Thursday night after seeing last Sunday you were at an event, and they're talking about, oh, did you see what Joshua was doing? Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, he's going to Ireland and it looks like it's going to be a good time. Oh, I've always wanted to go to Ireland. Blah, blah, blah. You never know. This is how you amplify your appearance at the event. So while you might have only had 10 people come by your booth or 8 people come to your private event that you put together, the halo effect of you communicating that you did this event is going to have an impact. It is going to have an impact. Just make sure it's clear what you're doing, what you're promoting, because just saying you went to this bridal show doesn't say you went to this bridal show because you specialize in destination weddings in Cancun, right? Make sure you, if that's what you do, make sure you get that in there. So when so and so is at the bar on a Thursday night, they're saying, oh, yeah, he specializes in Cancun weddings, right? Don't leave them guessing, because when you don't provide the narrative, someone else will create one, and it might not be the one that's going to help you close the deal. All right. Uh, if you are putting together a booth, or you're creating some kind of experience, whether it's those banners that have your branding on it, think about ways that you can create photo opportunities. So maybe you invest in a big backdrop for your 10 by 10 booth that has a giant photo of Italy. Okay. And you can even do this for whether it's a trade show or it's one of those private group events that you're doing with a supplier. Create a backdrop. And a lot of times you can find backdrops for specific destinations, the little fabric ones that you just need to make sure you steam them so they're nice and flat. And you have a wall to put them in front of or hang them on. But have an opportunity to take photos. I mean, it works. I've seen some really cool booths that are very, very basic, and they've gotten what is that? Like a life preserver. Is that what the rings that you used to see on ships? And then they'd have the name of the ship on them. I've seen just those with the company name on them, and people taking photos for their social media, with their head through the lifesaver, or two people holding on to the lifesaver. I'm When I say lifesaver, I am thinking of the breath mint. I hope you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, there's you can even have like boas or fun things like anything that can be interactive, and be a reason for people to take photos. That's great content for your social media, but it's great content for their social media. If you can work your brand in there, even better, even better. Let's see. And if you have um, a team there, so maybe it's you and another person, or maybe you've got several people that are at the event, um, create a team talk track. It can just be a couple of bullet points that presents your elevator pitch, the pitch around maybe a specific service that you offer, or a group that you've put together, or a destination that you're highlighting. But come up with a talk track, and it's just very easy. What do you want to say to everybody that's coming up to your booth? You might not get to all the points, but if you did, what are they? And make sure you distribute that to your team so you're all singing from the same songbook. It's infuriating when you do an event and you, as a business owner, know exactly what you want to talk about, and your team is there to support you. They want to support you, but they don't have necessarily the words, or the way that you finesse, the way that you are presenting the services, destinations, the products that you're offering. So do yourself a favor and create a talk track. These are all the things that you do for during the event to make sure you have a tight event. Also, during the event, make sure you have a way to collect contact information. That could be a pad that you just ask for people email for their email address and their mailing address. It could be where you have an iPad open to your email collector form, and people type in their email address. It could even be as simple as you say, hey, give me your email address or your mobile number. I'll text you right now my contact information. And then you just do it from your phone, and then you can fill in your CRM later with that information. Loads of ways to capture information. Make it easy, make it fun, make it effortless, really. That's the name of the game. But with that information, make sure that you follow up with everybody you interacted with. I prefer a personal communication. It can be a one-to-one email, it could be a text message, or it could be a phone call. Hey, it was so great meeting you. As I said, I've got this great trip going to Italy. If it's something that you'd like to talk more about, I'm happy to talk to you about that. Or you mentioned blah blah blah. I'd love to talk to you about that, something like that. And then make sure that they're in your database so you can communicate. You can communicate with them ongoing. It's also a great idea to come up with, again, the rule of seven. Come up with 7 emails that help tell the story of what you do. Or if you're selling something specific, a specific group trip that you've put together, come up with 7 emails that are telling the story of either you or these products or this product, but find different ways or different aspects of what you offer to communicate in each email. So you're not doing one big long email. You're doing 7 smaller emails that are very pointed and are communicating specific elements of what you have to offer. And anybody that you have met at this event, make sure that they get all 7 emails. Maybe they get an email the day after. Maybe they get another email 3 days later. Maybe they get one a week later. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of space it out so it doesn't feel, they're not getting one every single day. But go ahead and plan that out and make sure that you have that as a part of your event strategy, event marketing strategy. And then the last thing, so you were creating social media posts, content before you went, you were posting content while you were there. Do a recap social media post, maybe a carousel of 10 images from the event, or maybe a video that you took that you've spliced together to kind of encapsulate the fun that you had at the event, or just something that is content that people can consume that again leaves behind the message, oh, they attended an event and this is what they were offering. This is a great thing. Again, if you have, I said 20% will not show up for events that they RSVP for. Oh, look what you missed out on, right? So you're creating content like that, that kind of wraps up the event, closes it out, shows everybody what they missed, or if they were there, then they get to see themselves in it. That's always fun too. And they might share that content, or even people who didn't show up might share that content because maybe you've captured something, especially when you are selling something specific, like those group trips. People will share that even if they weren't able to come to the event. So you want to do that. The other thing you can do with your social media is there's always throwback Thursdays, flashback Fridays. If you need some content later on in the year, highlight the fact that you had an event. And especially if it conveys what you want to be known for, whether and that could be anything. That could be Disney destination trips. That can be weddings. That can be honeymoons. That can be girls trips. That can be pirate trips. It can be so many different things. But don't, just because you created that content once, don't think that it's not something you can use later and benefit from. So I hope this was helpful. This is a crash course on your event marketing strategy. And I'm so excited that so many of you have events, especially those private events that you put together. And again, work with your supplier partners. They might want to attend. They might love to attend, and they might be able to help you in putting together the event. But make sure you are establishing those relationships so you can draw on them. I'd love, in the last little bit, if any of you have something that you thought was an amazing tip that you're excited about, please share that in the Q&A. And while I wait for that to populate, Uh, if you have not done so already, please search in Facebook. We have a private Facebook group for travel marketeers. So not travel marketeering, but travel marketeers. I would love for you to join our private Facebook group. It's open to everybody. We have suppliers in there. We have members of World Via Travel Network, non-members of World Via Travel Network. It is a community built around creating systems to market your travel products and services. So the group is just getting started, but we'd love to have you there. And we've got some cool things. Andrea on my team, she's working on that group and coming up with some cool things to share with that group. So hope you can be there. Daniela, so glad that you joined. I'm so glad that you had fun. Um, uh, Althea said, I have a video of you during the purple party. How can I get this to you? So Althea is talking about our World 24 conference in Funner, California. Althea, my email is joshua@worldvia.com. So please email me that video. I hope I'm not acting a fool. Thank you for sharing that. So Kara said, thank you. Glad she found out about the travel marketing sessions at World 24. Kara, I'm glad that you did too. Kara said her best tip that she's taken away from this is the backdrop photo opportunity. I looked them up on Amazon and they're so inexpensive. You're right. I thought something like that would be super spendy. Not at all. Not at all. And sometimes, just another idea, sometimes you can find photo backdrops on Amazon that are of, uh, it could be a brick wall, and you could create, maybe you're trying to create a Paris scene. You could create something, or they have beach scenes galore. So where if you're doing something beachy, you pretty much can find something. So I'm so glad that you went ahead and looked for it, Kara. Thank you. Um, and Maria said, talking points for the people helping me. Hadn't thought about that. It is something that I have to say I stole from a supplier. I had gone to conferences with them, and their person who spoke on main stage did a great job presenting. But every single person from their team at all different levels all said the same things. They all had them committed to memory. And what I left from that event with was those points. Nothing, no noise. No, it was so clear what was important to them. And I've seen them do that year after year after year. So I always do that with my team when they're going anywhere. And I have seen it with travel agency owners and advisors, and it just works super well. Um, and Althea, I'm so glad you joined the session. And her event is on October 22nd. So she's got plenty of time to put some of this in motion. So Althea, I hope you come back after the event and have some great stories to share. Um, I hope you have a lot of wins, but I guarantee you, if this is your first time doing an event, you're going to have a lot of opportunities that you see for the future. But again, don't give up and keep on taking the learnings and applying them to your systems in order to make them better. All right, guys. Again, please join us on the Facebook group, Travel Marketeers. I will see you next week for another juicy topic. Until then, have a great week, and I'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye.